The alarm screamed through the underground bunker at 3:42 a.m., jolting Wing Commander James Archer awake from a restless sleep. His weathered face twisted as red emergency lights flooded the concrete room, casting everything in a hellish glow. Through the reinforced window, he could see the tarmac of the RAF airbase where 4 sleek tornado jets sat waiting like hungry predators. His hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of what he knew was coming. The Soviet convoy was moving through the mountain pass in Eastern Europe, and NATO needed proof of their strength. They needed someone crazy enough to fly lower and faster than anyone had ever dared. "We need you, James," Air Marshal Richardson's voice crackled through the radio, tight with urgency. "The Americans have tried twice already. Their F-15s pulled up too early. The Germans won't risk it. But you're the best we have." James closed his eyes for a moment, thinking of his daughter back home, her birthday next month. He thought of the letters he'd written but never sent. Then he thought of the men and women counting on him right now. His answer came quietly but firmly. "I'm going." Before we begin, tell us in the comments where in the world you're watching from. 40 minutes later, Wing Commander Archer sat in the cockpit of his Tornado, his flight suit damp with sweat despite the cold air of the pre-dawn morning. His navigator, Squadron Leader Marcus Webb, was in the seat behind him, checking instruments with mechanical precision. Marcus had flown with James for 7 years. They didn't need words anymore. They understood each other's breathing patterns, their fears, their hopes. "How low do they want us?" Marcus asked, though he already knew the answer. 30 meters, James replied. "We're going to fly so low they'll be able to wave at us from their trucks." Marcus laughed, but it was the nervous laugh of a man facing his own mortality. The engines roared to life, and the Tornado began its taxi down the runway. The night sky opened up before them as they lifted off. The stars above seemed impossibly distant, impossibly peaceful compared to the chaos that waited below. James pushed the aircraft forward, climbing steadily until the ground became a dark tapestry beneath them. His heart hammered in his chest as they crossed into the restricted airspace. Somewhere down there, Soviet radar operators were staring at their screens, tracking every movement. The slightest mistake, one moment of hesitation, and it would all be over. 2 minutes to the mountain pass, Marcus's voice crackled in his helmet, calm and controlled. The descent began. James felt sweat drip down his temple as he pushed the control stick forward, lower and lower. The altimeter unwound like a spinning clock running backward. 500 meters became 300, then 200. His eyes were fixed on the terrain below, which suddenly became sharp and terrifyingly real as they dropped even lower. 150 meters. The mountain walls rose on either side of them like the jaws of a massive beast about to close. James's hands were absolutely steady now, all his training, all his experience flowing through him like electricity. This was what he was born to do. At 50 meters, they were below the level of the mountain peaks. James could see the convoy headlights below, could make out individual vehicles on the narrow mountain road. His Tornado screamed through the pass, engines at full throttle, moving so fast that the world became a blur of gray stone and rushing wind. The camera mounted on the aircraft's belly clicked and whirred, capturing every detail that NATO needed to see. For 5 terrifying, magnificent seconds, they were invincible. They were flying lower than anyone thought possible. They were untouchable. Then everything changed. "Missile launch!" Marcus screamed. "We've got a heat seeker coming up fast!" James's instincts took over. He yanked the control stick hard to the left, slamming the Tornado into a violent barrel roll that threw his body against the seat harness. The world spun around him, sky, mountains, sky again. Sweat and fear flooded through him, but his hands remained steady. He deployed chaff, those tiny strips of metal that would confuse the missile's tracking system. The missile blazed past them, missing by what felt like inches. "We're hit," Marcus yelled, but his voice didn't break. "Hydraulics are compromised. The right engine is failing." The tornado wanted to fall. James could feel it in the controls, in the desperate way the aircraft was fighting him. But he wouldn't let it. He'd come this far, captured the footage that would show every NATO ally what the tornado could really do. Now he just had to get home. With the failing engine screaming like a wounded animal, James pushed the damaged fighter northward, limping through the night sky at 8:45 p.m., as if it were morning. Marcus was working furiously in the back, rerouting power, nursing every last bit of life from their broken machine. "Talk to me," James said quietly. "Tell me we're going to make it." Marcus took a breath. "We're going to make it, sir, because you're the best pilot I've ever known, and I'm not dying in this bucket of bolts today." When the tornado finally limped across the border into Allied airspace, the entire control room erupted in cheers. James brought the wounded jet down onto the runway with barely 50 meters of tarmac left, her belly smoking and her right engine dead. As the aircraft rolled to a stop and the canopy hissed open, James looked over at Marcus and smiled. They'd done it. They'd flown lower and faster than anyone thought was possible. They'd proven that when it came to bravery and skill, Britain's tornado and her pilots had no equal. In that moment, covered in sweat and adrenaline, with the smell of burning metal in the air, Wing Commander James Archer understood that some things were worth the risk. Some things were worth everything.